Dr. Bedden is here, and I've asked him to come because a couple of weeks ago, read his academic improvement plan that he's put forth for the school system. There's a video of his presentation last week on my website. You start at the 27-minute mark. It takes about a half an hour, but it gives you an idea of how serious Dr. Bedden is about his job. And I am a huge fan, and I'm not just blowing smoke, of his efforts to fix this school district. He is not messing around. He does not care about political turf or political favors or political friends. He's here to make the school system worthy of everybody sending their kids to Richmond Public Schools. He also knows, like many of us, that not every kid's going to go to Harvard, and we're not going to probably perform test scores like Henrico or Fairfax. But he knows that he can get this system, get this ship righted to the point where people are comfortable about spending 20 years here raising their kids rather than the middle school battle I had 2 weeks ago. The reason I asked Dr. Bedden is 2 weeks ago I got a call from a friend of mine who's also a parent of 4 kids in public schools. His oldest goes here. And he said that he was so upset the night before he got into a really bitter argument with his wife about moving to the county or not. He didn't want to, she did. The kids are the most important thing. And the next day, I asked Dr. Bedden if he would come and speak tonight because I believe in his vision for what he's going to bring to the school system if we don't scare him off, which I hope we don't, because I want to keep him around as long as possible. We have a tendency to do that with superintendent, and I don't want that to happen. And I want him to talk about, have enough time to talk about his vision for the schools, especially in this district, for you parents, but also citywide, because if the school system gets fixed citywide, you're talking about rising property values, people that want to live in the city, and more revenue for things like leaf collection in schools and other things that are important that government should be spending money on. So, Dr. Bedden, I hope I didn't blow you up too much, but I really believe in you. Please welcome Dr. David Bedden. The school system is having a meeting. For those of you that came in late, at 7:15 in this building, we had to cut our meeting a little short, so Dr. Bedden is going to close out the meeting. We'll be around afterwards and wrap up around 7:15, so I'll turn it over to Dr. Bedden.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh my goodness, y'all must be sleepy. Good evening.
Good evening.
First thing I want to start, I introduce a couple faces to you. I'm going to start with the local fan favorite, new to Richmond Public School, is the principal here at Albert Hill. Miss Knight, can you tell a little bit where you came from?
Sure. I am extremely grateful and privileged to be serving here at Albert Hill. I am coming from Loudoun County in Northern Virginia, where I served there for several years as an assistant principal, and prior to that I was at the district in an urban school setting at an elementary school as a principal. And so now I'm here in Richmond, and we made that decision intentionally because we have a family north of us and south of us, and this was kind of the great hub. And Richmond is just a wonderful and beautiful place to live. And so, again, I'm privileged to be here serving our students and you in this community. So thank you.
Joining us is the new chief of staff, Mrs. Hunter, 3 weeks?
No, 6 now.
6? He's been on there? Wow, okay. Ms. Hunter joining us as new chief of staff. She's joining us from Miami, Florida. And next to Ms. Knight and Mr. Rob Westbay, the money guy. The guy you want to make sure that is responsible, right? Efficient, effective. Yeah, she's getting excited right there. Mr. Westbay was in Virginia, he joins from another district here in Virginia. To his left is Mr. Jeffers, who's joining us as he was a principal at Lee High School in Fairfax County. He's joining us. He oversees all middle schools and high schools. And directly to his left is a person who's been here with us for years, but I think talent's underutilized. So So she was recently applied for, promoted into the new director of student services. But what many of you all will recognize the name and maybe the face is that we were able to get back responsibility for truancy. And then we also created an Office of Family and Community Engagement. So she works very hard to make sure the kids are in school, that they're not running around bothering you all during the day. And that's Ms. Angela Jones. To her far left is the former Associate Superintendent in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, which is a well-regarded, high-performing district in Maryland, just like Fairfax is in Virginia. She came down and joined us to be the Associate Superintendent of Academic Service, Ms. Andrea Kane. I want to start out with the end in mind. Two things happened just recently within the last few weeks, which was we rolled out an academic improvement plan, which actually was requested by several council members to talk about what are we going to do differently to ensure that we get better at the product that we're producing. Now, picture this. Education is economic development. Everybody agree with that?
Absolutely.
Because businesses, believe it or not, pick locations to open companies or to relocate employees off by looking at school systems and what's happening with them, okay? We are, I believe, national defense. We really are, because an educated population produces the backbone and the future of America when it comes to national defense. We also are the biggest stick against poverty. 26% in the city, but you need to know that number jumps to about 40% when you just look at the school-age population. 40% is a pretty large number. But at the end of the day, if you have the ability to be a productive citizen in society, and that means college and or career ready, and I say and or because even if we make career programs, we want it to still be a pathway that you can choose. Because you can be in a career pathway and still going to college. You can be on a career pathway and decide I just want to go straight into industry. So it has to be both. And that's what we're trying to create in Richmond Public Schools. But the end in mind is this, and I think the word's been up there several times already, believe it or not. It really is about choices, the reallocation of resources. So when we did the budget presentation, the very last slide really got to the core of not saying that we start with the idea of more taxes. What we really start with is a conversation about reallocation of resources and making decisions about what it is we do and where we spend the money. I've asked that of the mayor. We shared that in a presentation for the city council. We even do it inside our shop. So for example, one of the things that I asked our finance staff was for is that the state requires us to allocate and report money based on categories. In one particular category, it says administration, attendance, and what's the other piece of it? And health. They glove it together. So I said, Mr. Wesley, I want administration costs. I want to see what we're spending on administration separate. Anybody think, what do you think we're spending on administration in the school district? Anybody, what percent? Anybody?
40.
How much?
40.
2.7%. $7.9 million out of about a $260 million budget. Anybody know what percent by state categorization goes to instruction and RPS? This is interactive. I don't have any prizes. You'll get a free Subway sandwich. Somebody give me a guess.
70%.
Oh my God, you guys are pretty good. 75%. And I share that with you because one of the things that I have to do as a superintendent is first hire someone who's smarter than me about the money. And then be able to tell them what it is you want to accomplish with the money. And that is as much of the money going towards what? The classroom. Okay? But here's the challenge we have. We're dealing with what I would call deferred effort, deferred contribution, deferred maintenance. Meaning that the roosters are coming home to crow because we put off things for years and years and years. So your council person has talked about the facility issue. The facility issue that he talked about, the $30-something million, is just the basics. Like he said, roofs, boilers, simple stuff. That's not even really getting into true modernization of the buildings. So I remember walking up to this building for the community interview and thinking, wow, this is pretty aesthetically pleasing and impressive building. But walking inside, I also felt disheartened and disappointed with the lack of care and taking care of it. And then I asked myself, why is it that I can walk in Chesterfield or in Richmond? By the way, they get more money from the state than we do per kid, which is beyond me. But the simple answer to that is a complicated formula that they make it harder so nobody can understand it is they have not adjusted for the poverty or the need base. They assume, because we have a lot of businesses in the city, we're wealthy, instead of looking at your student need population. So that's another story. We won't get into it. I want you to know that. So if you ever have someone's ear, you tell them that, okay? Just don't tell them you got it from me. But we don't have to have in America children's quality of education determined by the zip code. But that's what we have right now. We absolutely do have it. Statewide, even the state now is admitting, and you may not know this, the priority schools, when they looked at the data for all the schools that are in priority status in the state of Virginia, the demographic profile is this: 80% or better free reduced lunch, 80% minority. That is the makeup of every school that is listed as not meeting the state standard. So I would tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the state is not admitting. In Virginia, we really don't have no child left behind. We have children that are being left behind. The bigger picture is Virginia is still a quality state in education. It is outperforming several countries in education. But we have pockets that are not being successful. That is magnified here in Richmond because of the deferred effort, deferred maintenance. And now what's happening is we're playing catch up. We're struggling with decisions about, again, how much money to put in a boiler or roof, when we also know that we have right now more seats than we have students. We have a little over 9,000 seats vacant compared to our capacity in Richmond public schools. Did y'all know that? Yes. We're overcrowded in elementary in many cases, but our seats are sitting at middle and high school. So there has to be tough decisions at some point about, are we going to let operational costs keep costing us more money or get that money and redirect it? That is the conversation about we have to make a decision about our facilities. We typically pay about $300 more per kid just for operational costs based on the facilities. Multiply that by 23,700 and something students. That's a lot of money, isn't it? That is why our per pupil cost is typically higher than our surrounding jurisdiction. We have 19% special ed students of our population, a growing ESL population. So we have all the high-risk factors that are jacking up the cost to provide a quality education. And I share that with you because I think it's important that you know every time you pay your taxes, you always ask, why is that? Why am I paying that? I know you ask that, because I pay taxes. I live in a city. And you have a right to know where it's going. But here's the thing that I think gets most people, hits people the hardest. Most people say, I don't mind paying if I'm getting results. And that's the challenge I've been given. Turn it around and get results. And that's our goal. We're going to have to do things different than what we've done. We're going to have to make tough choices because we need additional resources. But again, I'm not saying that the resources have to be taxed. It's about decisions and reallocation. Because I also believe, as much as I value my brothers in blue, both police and fire, if I can do a good job, I can put them out of business. At the end of the day, if I can do a better job with the product we produce, Chief Jordan, who's the new guy coming in, should get prop his feet up and relax. Wishful thinking, right? But that's the goal. And that's why I need your support. To support, when council members are talking about the reallocation of resources to support schools, I'd encourage you to walk in some of our schools. When some people finally went in and thought, oh my goodness, I had no idea it was this bad. When someone asks me why do they need all that technology, well, I want you to consider the workforce that they're going into compared to what it was when we went to school. Please do not judge what a school needs now based on what it was when you went to school. Because often people say, well, I didn't need that. But the skill set that you were asked to have to get a job is very different now than what they are. Students need to be bilingual in this world. You're much more marketable and valuable. So we're trying to rebuild our foreign language program so that our students have an opportunity to be bilingual when they leave us. We're trying to reestablish the arts program that has kind of died out in the community that since I've been here a little over a year seems to really value the arts. So why are we not creating our own arts in our school system and giving them an opportunity to be exposed to it? We also know the opportunity to speak another language and be exposed to the arts actually has a direct impact on the students' core subject areas and their performance going up. So we're making some critical changes. But we're trying to do it in a fiscally responsible and efficient and effective manner so that I can give you a good report on your return on investment. We got to invest in our human capital. 81% of our budget is spent on people. So we're raising the bar in accountability so that we can address those who are not performing at the level that they should be. But part of that process should be, to be fair, is articulating what it is we expect you to do. Give you a chance to get better, but then if you don't, I'm comfortable with making a tough choice and saying you can't work for us. But I'm also willing to be comfortable to know if there's threat. The only thing you should be concerned about is that we expect you to do your job, because every day when you see the name on that paycheck that has who are the board chair and superintendent, we're attesting to you as taxpayers that that person is earning their pay. And that's how I look at it. If they're not doing their job, I'm spending your money and my money too, and saying that you need to deliver a product and a service that is respectful to our community. And we will deal with it. I'm very thankful with the core group on the board that is backing us as we deal with employee performance and addressing it. I'm thankful with a board that is saying that we are willing to be competitive in the market, but we got to get a return on investment. In building a team, you do know, if you have not been told, that any check that we write, you can go online and see where we spend it. Do y'all know that? Yeah. That was put on under this board, this current administration, not being transparent. So you know where your money is going. Feel free to call us and ask if you don't understand. Why did that cost that much? Why are we doing whatever we do? I got my hand in your pocket, so it's okay. Ask us. After we get it from there. We got it in your pocket. The academic improvement plan is a multi-year plan that is meant to put systems in place to increase academic performance, to support those who are doing well, to close the gap between the underperforming and the performing, and to also support our teachers. It includes the option that we have at state contract that allows for 200 days. The board has supported the administration's request to fund that so that we have professional development time for our teachers, so they actually have time to hone their trade and their skill. Remember, we're the only industry, at least one of the few, that happens when if you leave to go for professional development, we got to get somebody else to come fill in for you. And then the teachers are not sure they're getting the best person to fill in for them. So we're trying to create days where they don't have to worry about that, and they can actually come to work and work in collaborative teams with each other to get better at delivering the service that you're paying them for. That's what we're asking. And I only ask for COLA to make sure they don't fall behind because of that big investment that we're asking already. We at least wanted to give them COLA also so they don't fall behind in competitiveness to get right up in Chesterfield. I'm really tired of going to meetings and my colleagues thanking me for preparing someone to work for them. And that's what I get when I'm at a meeting. You got some good people, we appreciate it. We want to become the district of choice, not last choice. And so that's what we hope to accomplish with the district. And it's going to take some courageous decisions. It's going to take some collaboration. It's going to take some flexibility on your part. And working with us to do it differently. I'm going to promise you that I'm going to make mistakes. I guarantee you. When we find out we made a mistake, we'll fix it. We will agree to disagree on some things. But I will assure you that you will always have a person sitting in that chair, and myself, that will try to make the best decision possible to make sure that every child who walks into school gets what they deserve. That I can account for every dollar that you've given us. Even if we disagree on how we're spending, but you still need to know how we spend it. Regardless. And then we will try to be collaborative and connected to the community. I encourage you to come and join us and participate. We won't win today. There's a book out by the guy by the name of Jay Navone, who's a business executive for Bluebell Ice Cream. He's an executive that used to go around the country talking to people and saying, make the schools like a business. One of his major presentations, one of the teachers finally stood up and asked him, what happens when you have a bad crop of berries or ice cream? He says, oh, that's simple, we get rid of it. Shortened version, paraphrase, she says exactly, we don't get to get rid of children. We got to take them where they are, move them, and make something better than what came in here. That's what a teacher does. We've got to support our teachers while still holding them accountable. We've got to encourage them, nurture them, and give them the resources. We've got to stop asking them to carve a turkey at Thanksgiving with a spoon. And level the playing field. So it's not about when you live in Chesterfield and Rico or Hammond. To our teachers that are sitting here, I would say to you, because we're in a different place, we're going to have to do it differently. Our performance is different, our kids' needs are different. So when we compare ourselves, remember, we're not performing like those other districts yet. So that's why we got to try some different things. It's not that we don't value you, we won't respect you, and I dare say to anyone, I don't question the effort or the commitment from our teachers. That never crosses my mind. So when we make changes, please know it's not because we're questioning your commitment. But we can't do what we've done because we want to get what we've got. We have some handouts that you should have gotten. That is a letter that we emailed to our staff today that outlined several of the key initiatives and what was asked. I thought it would help that you see that, and when you read it later, feel free to email, call. We're more than happy to explain more of it. But again, transparency, so you can see what was put in estimates of needs going forward. Some of those numbers look big, but that's because we're playing catch up. On the staffing side, almost 90% of those position requests are going back to schools. We're trying to recover from 2009. We actually have more students now than we had in 2009, and we're a lower percent of the city's budget. So we're actually starting to grow a little bit. We won't keep that trend of people coming back to the city if we don't change the success of our city schools. When I meet the students, the ones who left, I have family here, they left, and when they graduated from Richmond, they moved into the suburbs with their children. Comments when they brought some kids together, I said, where'd you go? Why'd you go? You're some of our best athletes. Band, whatever. Because they had access to the instruments, because they had better field. We would dedicate the field at Marshall, groundbreaking. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen. We went to do the little celebration and stick the shovels into the ground. Guess what happened when I tried to stick my shovel? The shovel almost broke. I couldn't get it in the ground. Now, I'm not a little guy. 230 pounds, if I can't get it in the ground, something's wrong. That's not what I want for our children. I have a 4th grader who's going to school. That's not what I want for her. So I need your help. Some of you got grandchildren. You want the best for your grandchildren. So, with that said, I have a finance person here, I have a school principal here, I have our student services person here, and I have the head of secondary schools here. I will apologize to you, the rest of the team is not here because they're at another school doing a presentation. It's split up. So I'll be more than happy to take a couple questions because we have about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure I leave some time. Questions? Yes, ma'am.